Hi, my name is Matt Willis from Bayer Crop Science. I'm a market development agronomist in Western Australia. Today we're out at a trial at Wongan Hills looking at Mateno Complete, a new herbicide coming to the market in 2022. So this trial, we are looking at the control of annual ryegrass in wheat. So we're comparing Mateno Complete to a range of industry standards with several application timings. So incorporated by sowing, IBS, and a couple of early post emergent timings, like very early at two-leaf and then again at tillering. So Mateno Complete is a product which will be available to growers in 2022. It's a co-formulation of 3 active ingredients, one of which is a brand new active ingredient and mode of action into Australia, which is aclonophen. Now, aclonophen is an SPS inhibitor. It's also been in this product with peroxysulfone, which is an inhibitor of very long-chain fatty acids, and trifluralin, which is a PDS inhibitor. These 3 active ingredients are quite complementary in the way they're taken up into the plant. Peroxysulfone, well known to be taken up pretty much entirely by the root system of the weeds. Diflufenican is a combination of foliar uptake and shoot uptake. And aclonophen, the new active ingredient, is also taken up by the shoots, so the hypercotyl of the plant as it's emerging, but also foliar for those weeds which are already emerged. Mateno Complete will control a range of weeds, including key grass weeds such as annual ryegrass, barley grass, annual phalaris, silvergrass, toadrush, as well as the suppression of wild oats and brome grass, and also has a very good activity on some broadleaf weeds, including wild radish, capeweed, double Gs, and prickly lettuce. Mateno Complete will be registered in wheat and barley, another rate range, and it can be applied both IBS and EPE. One of the main benefits of Mateno Complete with the IBS application is having 3 active ingredients, 3 modes of action, all complementary with each other, working together to give a high level of consistent control. Mateno Complete can be applied with different seeding setups, not only knife point press wheels, but also with disc seeding systems. One of the main benefits of the EPE application is getting a complete coverage of the product over the soil surface. This means that the limitations you have through IBS applications, where you don't get control in the furrow, is overcome through early application to the crop. This trial site was sown to 75 kilos per hectare of vixen wheat. We also counted over 400 plants per square metre of annual ryegrass here, so a very high burden of ryegrass. There's also about 100 plants per square metre of volunteer canola. And our application timings were IBS as well as 2 timings EPE. So the season here at Wongan Hills, similar to the rest of Western Australia, has been quite wet. We sowed this trial in the middle of May, had rain on pretty much straight away to get an instant germination, and we've had regular rainfall events all throughout winter. So the first thing we're looking at here is the untreated plots. This has had no herbicides applied all season. We counted early on just over 400 plants per square metre of annual ryegrass here, plus over 100 plants per square metre of volunteer canola. We've got a very high weed burden throughout. These were counted at over 400 plants per square metre initially. I think it's going to develop into well over 1,000 panicles per square metre by the end of the season. But as you can see here across the soil profile, we've got weeds coming up in the furrow wall and the shoulder, and then big numbers in the row itself, all throughout the whole row. First comparison we're looking at here is 2 litres of trifluralin followed by 1 litre of Mateno Complete at the 3-leaf crop stage, and comparing that up against the industry standard for grass control IBS in Sakura, so 210 mils of Sakura flow in this case. As you can see here, obviously the Sakura not doing a whole lot on broadleaves, whereas Mateno Complete is taking them all out. And on top of that, we're also seeing an improvement in grass control. So what we're looking at here is the Sakura plot, and as you can see, we're getting a high level of control as you'd expect from Sakura. We assessed this at about 90%, but even so, we're just seeing a handful of ryegrass plants still getting through. So you'll see this one here, on the shoulder of the furrow, almost in the furrow itself, where there is no active ingredients. So obviously when we've gone in and applied the Sakura and the knife point press wheels have gone through, it's concentrated all the product in the interrow. As you can see, it's quite clean there. But just where there is no product, where the soil's been thrown out in the furrow on the shoulder and in the furrow wall itself, you'll see there's just a few weeds getting through. So here we are in the 2 litres of trifluralin followed by 1 litre of Mateno Complete applied at the 3-leaf crop stage. And we're seeing that improvement in control above what we got out of the Sakura. So we assessed this at 97% weed control. As you can see, along in the furrow itself, on the furrow walls and on the shoulder, we're getting that complete control because as this was applied at the 3-leaf crop stage, we got complete coverage over the soil surface all the way across, and we've got that complete coverage. And that's just able to increase that level of control from the 90 odd that we're getting with the Sakura up to the 97 we're getting with this. Next up, we're looking at the later timing of Mateno Complete. So we just looked at Mateno Complete being applied at 3-leaf crop stage. Next up in this plot, we've applied it at early tiller crop stage, so on larger weeds, larger crop, and just seeing how that impacts weed control. So here we have, looking down the row of this plot, you can just see because we've applied it on a little bit later at that first tiller, the weeds are a bit larger at application, and there's just a few more which are getting through, which otherwise we're getting control at the early timing. So this is still rated about 88% control, so still very good, but certainly back on that high level 97% control we're getting at the early timing. Just these weeds here were just a little bit too big at application, but still very clean throughout, but just a couple more have gotten through. So next up, we're looking at the lower rate of Mateno Complete at that later crop timing. So previously we looked at 2 litres of trifluralin followed by 1 litre of Mateno Complete at the early tiller stage, whereas here we're looking at 2 litres of trifluralin followed by 750 mils per hectare of Mateno Complete at that early tilling crop stage. So as you can see here at that 750 mil rate, there is a rate response. We're seeing a few more weeds here than we were with the 1 litre rate. At the earlier timing on smaller weeds, we're not seeing much of a difference at this site, but certainly at the later timing, so early tiller and crop stage, these weeds were about 4 leaf on average, the ryegrass, and it's just meant that because they're a little bit bigger, that lower rate just wasn't quite enough. You can see there's a few more broadleaves in here as well. They were also at that 4 leaf at application, but just showing that rate response on larger weeds, higher weed burdens, is the benefit of going for the higher rate. So one of the other objectives we were looking to explore at this trial was weed control across the system of herbicides. So one of the earlier plots we just looked at was 2 litres of trifluralin followed by 1 litre per hectare of Mateno Complete at the 3-leaf crop stage. We're also looking here at another system that a farmer would use in the paddock if there's a heavy weed burden, grass is present and broadleaves. So this one here we've looked at is 2.5 litres of Box of Gold plus 200 mils of Callisto, pre-emergent, and then coming back with 1 litre per hectare of Jaguar post-emergent, so which would then control the broadleaves and the grasses. So as we can see with this system that's been used, in that we've controlled most of the broadleaves with the Jaguar spray and the Callisto, but then the Box of Gold, definitely a step back on the Mateno Complete when used post-emergent. A lot more weeds, ryegrass plants here coming through, just not getting that complete coverage over the soil surface. So the main messages we got out of this trial so far has been that Mateno Complete is providing the highest level of IBS control of all the products it's been compared against. We've also seen that the EPE application is providing the highest level of control above and beyond what we're getting from IBS due to the level of control in the furrow itself, at the furrow wall and the shoulder of the furrow. With the EPE timing Mateno Complete, we're seeing some very good levels of control across the season. In this particular trial, we're seeing activity on grasses up to 14 weeks after application, and with broadleaf weeds up to 8 weeks after application. We're also seeing that the higher rate obviously does a better job than the lower rate, and that earlier timing gets high level control than the later timing where we're going on smaller weeds at that early timing. Assessing crop safety is also an integral component of our trials at Bayas. We've looked at the safety of Mateno Complete IBS and been very safe on the crop, and also assessing the level of phytotoxicity on crop leaves from the EPE application. The growers that are interested to find out more information about Mateno Complete and or the results from this trial, contact your local agronomist or your Bayer representative.